All rise. Support court with Judge Vanderby is now in session. Judge, this is case number JVB1069, Shoemaker case.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You all may be seated. Okay, Ms. Shoemaker, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
I want to increase child support.
That's it?
Yes, ma'am. That's all I'm bringing them to court for. I need more funds.
Based on what, excuse me, sir, please don't, what was that you just said anyway?
Sack chaser.
Sack chaser, what is that exactly?
Chasing the sack. She worried about my money.
Okay, I think that's the purpose of coming to court for an increase.
I'll take care of the kids.
All rise. Support court with Judge Vanderby is now in session. Judge, this is case number JVB1065, McIntosh case.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You all may be seated. Okay, Mr. McIntosh, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
Well, I think she needs to pay child support.
Okay, just straight like
Yeah,
that.
straight. I want to get straight to the point. I just want nothing to do with it. I just want child support.
All right. Do you really know her? You just said like you don't want nothing to do with it, like you just met her yesterday.
Well, I thought I did.
Okay, tell me about it.
Well, it started off like every other fairy tale, you know. Everything was hot, bad. Everything cooking good loving. So we got a kid.
Okay.
We say, okay, so when the kid arrived, that kind of changed. You know, Daddy got put on the back burner. And, you know, sometimes I'm not understanding. I say, what happened to Dad? You know, you let the kid go to sleep or something. Don't just forget about me. So it was all about, you know, I got the baby. No. Put the baby to bed.
Well, you wanted to tend to the baby, right?
Well,
Yeah, what else I'm gonna do?
well, not that much. Don't just forget about me.
Okay.
You know,
forgot about Daddy.
around the house, you know, it's just
It's
all
a
about the
child,
baby.
though.
It's just all about the baby.
The baby don't
What
know
happened to
better.
me?
Yeah, but you can't forget about Daddy.
Exactly.
Forgot
What's the
about
baby
daddy.
gonna do? You an adult.
See, forget about it. See what I'm talking about?
It's a child.
Cannot forget about Dad. And once that's a baby. That baby sleep 8 hours a day.
No. So I gotta feed the baby. I gotta make sure the baby's clothed and everything. There's a lot of work to put into taking care of a kid.
There really
You an
is.
adult. So you know how to take care of
I'm
yourself.
helping. She's not doing nothing by herself. I am also helping. So once I always give her a break. So I get some daddy time, some us time. Get that back. You know? It was great at first, but it just I
You
don't
say
know.
at first, how long were y'all together?
6 years.
That's a long time to be together.
Yeah. But
Okay.
then the baby just popped up and I'm like, you know, she forgot about me. And so I try to, you know, let me take care of the baby. Let me let you rest so you can start back paying attention to me.
All right.
And that don't seem
Do
like-
y'all still live together?
That don't, no. That don't seem
Not anymore.
All right.
not anymore. No.
Okay, how old is the child now? I'm assuming it's not a baby anymore.
Child about 6.
6? Okay.
Yeah, had him right off. Right, kind of early.
Okay.
And that kind of, I think that kind of threw it off a little bit by us having the kids so early. And it should have waited a little while, but hey, baby wanted to come, so baby's here now. So
So the baby wanted to come.
the baby wanted to be here, so like I said, I help out to try to get, you know, give her a break or something. Maybe bring over some wine and cook for her every night. I don't like, you know, but it don't seem to, it's just like, I guess you're gonna do that after, I don't know what you call it, after the baby's here, that's some kind of phase you go through.
Okay.
When you're not paying attention to daddy.
Postpartum.
Yeah, what you say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's serious. Postpartum is a serious thing to go through. So of
It
course
is.
it's gonna be a
Nah, not
disconnect.
for 5 years.
How you gonna tell a woman that postpartum is something that's terrible to go through? You never been through it. How do you know?
Yeah, I'm waiting on that explanation too.
Please tell me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. But all I know is I help out to try to, you know, help out with the baby to try to understand what you're going through. That's why
It's
I try. That's why I
mental
take.
issues.
That's why I
Can
try
we
to.
stop referring to this 6-year-old as a baby?
That's.
It's my
I try
child.
to take care of our child.
But you need to be able to tend to me and the child and try to understand where I'm coming from, because depression is a mental thing. You know, there's medication. Some people have suicidal thoughts. You don't even know what you never even tried to ask me what I was going through or how I even felt.
She makes a good point.
Okay.
So
I'll take that.
it's takes a lot. It takes a lot for you to understand where I'm coming from. You can't just assume, okay, I'm not just trying to tend to you. I have to tend to my mental health and my child. That takes a lot of work.
But I can't read your mind. I don't know.
But that's, you never try to even talk to her, try to understand me from that point.
Did the two of you come here to waste my time?
I mean, he's the one that called it in here. I'm just here. I mean, he obviously wanted to do something.
Obviously, and I'm just trying to get to what
He's
that
wasting
something
both of our
is.
time.
I want full custody and I want child support.
Okay.
I don't get full
The
custody,
child
but
live
I'll
with
take
you?
care of it.
It's kind of between right about now. But I think I could take care of him better since she can't keep a
I've
job.
been with the kid longer, so I mean, I'm not working right now, so I'm at home with the kid all the time.
So if she not working, she behind bars.
Wait a minute. Behind bar.
Yeah,
wait
yeah.
a minute, Mr. McIntosh. Let me move over here to her so I can
okay.
hear her side of the story. What is this behind bars?
Well, because of how he's been feeling, okay, he's been feeling neglected because I was having issues with depression and taking care of my kids. So he decided to step out. So, you know, me and my girl did some digging, and I found out he stepped out on me. So you know what? I had to find out where the girl went, where she worked at.
So you went and found
I
his
sure
new
did.
girlfriend
I whooped her butt.
He
I
did not
sure
have to
did.
jump on her.
while she was at
I
work?
did. Cause he's
Ooh.
not about to play me after all this stuff I've been doing with his kid. He's not about to do that.
That's a little ratchet.
Yeah, so
reason.
I did. I did.
There's no reason.
There's nothing
That
else
was
I can
uncalled
do.
for.
I did it.
So you have a case pending on you?
I do. Unfortunately, I do. But you don't cheat on me after all this work I've been putting in taking care of your child. You gonna cheat on me? No, it's not gonna fly.
Oh.
Well, what happened to the depression? What happened to
I'm-
all that? You
oh,
take
it's in
what
there.
happened to all
That's
that?
one of the
You gonna
side
fight my
effects,
new
though.
girlfriend.
That's
but
one
you-
of the
what
side
was the baby
effects,
while you
though.
fighting?
That's one of the side effects.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
What
you
was the
fighting
baby
with a
while
baby.
you were fighting?
Because I'm upset. I'm mad, and then you're not even
And y'all
trying
have
to
me
make
saying,
me
baby,
feel
what
better.
was the
What
child
was the
while you
child
were
while you were
fighting?
fighting my girlfriend?
Oh, that was taken care of. My sister was watching the
Your
kid.
sister?
She was.
Was she in jail with you?
No, she's watching the kid, and she bailed me out.
Oh.
She was there for me. You
Her
weren't.
sister bailed her out.
You were there.
Her
She was there
sister
for
was
me.
there.
So I guess
for her,
you talk
you
to your
weren't.
sister. You won't talk to me.
Because
You
you don't
talk
even
to your
try
sister,
to.
but you can't talk to
You don't
me.
even try. I tried to talk to you.
It seems like you guys can't really talk to each other without getting into
Obviously
it.
not, because
So
you don't even
No.
try to listen to
I'll
me.
go back to
No.
my original
Yeah.
question. So who does the child stay with majority of the
Me.
time?
He said he was
Okay, so you said that the baby was better off with you
Yeah.
because she has a assault case.
She got a soul case.
But she didn't
Can't
do it in
keep a
front of
job.
the-
She can't keep a job.
How
Okay,
can I
what do
keep
you
a
do
job
for a
and not take
living?
care of the kids?
I'm in the entertainment business.
What does that mean?
I produce.
Yeah, he
What are you
producing, all right.
producing?
I got several artists I'm trying to produce right now in the music business. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, late night.
Okay. Have they already produced some music?
That's kind of iffy right now, but I think they're gonna be okay.
And what kind of money are you making?
I'm making about 85,000.
Okay. All right, and you said
Look,
you're
turn the light on.
unemployed right now. What happened to your job?
I had to quit because I was taking care of the kids full time.
Okay. So the child lives with her. Okay. Why didn't you file anything for today for child support?
I wasn't thinking hard. I didn't want to be malicious towards him or anything, so I didn't feel the need I had to. So that's just where I stand on that.
Okay.
Because it's not meant to stick
Is your
on the
sister
wall.
also helping you with that criminal case?
She is.
Okay.
And she also helps me watch the kid if I'm needing to do anything, like any grocery shopping or anything. She helps.
All right. So where does dad come in?
I mean, he's rarely around. I mean, he's doing his little producing thing and stuff and meeting up with late women and stuff. You know, that's why I had this little charge. So, I mean, that's what he's doing.
It's a little charge.
I mean, it's an assault charge, but I mean, it is what it is at this point. It already happened, so.
Okay. I do agree with that. Well, sir, I'm not going to grant your request for child support
I
today.
am not manipulating women. You got one girlfriend and you jumped on her.
You are. No, there's
You tell the
plenty
judge
more.
about your sister.
It's
She going back to
plenty
jail.
more. It's plenty more.
Oh,
How you
okay.
know?
Well, guess what? I
Have
don't have
sources.
time to hear about all of these little rendezvous today. I have other things to do, and you obviously came here to waste my time. So I'm going to deny your relief, like I said, and dismiss your case. because it's obvious that the child stays with mom primarily. You didn't dispute it when she said it. Therefore, I don't have a choice but to dismiss it. And mom, on the other hand, if she comes back in here and says she wants child support, because had she filed something today, you would actually be placed on child support today.
Me?
But yes, you at that $80,000 to $85,000 range, because the child lives with her. She's telling the truth, isn't she?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm pretty sure she's telling the truth about the other stuff too. But
No,
that's
no,
none of my
no,
business.
No.
So, is there anything further today, Mr. McIntosh?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything further, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing further, you all are dismissed. Hi guys, it's me, Judge Vonda B. I wanted to go over what you witnessed in the
This stuff today is interesting.
What?
Nothing, son.
Oh.
All rise. Support court with Judge Vonda B is now in session. Judge, this is case number JVB1078, McKinney case.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You all may be seated. Okay, Miss McKinney,
Yes,
we're back.
Yes.
I hope we are in better spirits.
I am.
Okay, good. And we're not going to allow each other to press each other's buttons, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay, so we took the DNA testing, had all that done. Did you all have any problems with that?
No, none at all.
Okay. Okay. Have the two of you had an opportunity to speak at all?
We've
No
spoken.
way. No.
Lies.
All right. Okay. We spoke for 30 seconds. That doesn't count. I didn't want to talk to you. You came up to me. I tried to end the conversation as quick as possible.
Yeah, sticky.
Your Honor, permission to speak?
Yes, ma'am.
That is not true. He called me and he asked me, he said, look, I don't know which way this paternity test is gonna go, but if you'll just let me put it on you one more time, we can smooth all of this out, blah, 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 all of that crap.
Oh, so that's a lot in 30 seconds.
Really?
No. It was not. No, it's not what I said. But
When he lies, he puts his hand up like that on his cheek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a lie post.
And you found all that out in 72 hours?
I did.
Interesting. Okay. So,
you see how aggressive she is about this. This
I'm
is
just excited.
She doesn't need help for her daughter. This
Come
is
on
about
with the
revenge.
results,
This
please.
is clearly about getting back at me and punishing me for not, I don't know, staying with her forever. I don't know.
Results, please.
but it's been 9 years.
I know it's been, it's odd timing, isn't it? Right when I have a fiance and have a son, that's when she chooses to do this? Isn't that kind of odd timing here, Your Honor?
I mean, the timing does seem a little interesting.
I just came to the realization that, hey, I can do it alone, but I don't have to do it alone. If he's taking care of his other son and his fiance, that's fine. I don't need him to take care of me or my daughter, but it would be the right thing to do. And that's what he's going to do.
And
If he's the father.
He's the father.
Okay. And you're sure of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I mean, bailiff, we have those results.
Got your cashier's check. Because I don't want a
That's
personal
not
check.
nice.
Well, I'm just saying.
You can't say that to him yet, though.
Okay.
We don't know if he's even going to be the father to pay child support.
I know.
But if you are indeed the father, I wouldn't recommend you make a payment today because the order would just be being signed today.
Is there an appeal process even if I am the father?
What would you be appealing exactly?
I don't think that based on the way she's been treating me and based on her selective choice of when to bring this issue up in order to, harm my relationship with my family, I consider that a form of harassment. And I feel like I should be able to file maybe a restraining order, and that would prevent me from, if I had a restraining order against her, that would prevent me obviously from having to pay for her child support, wouldn't it?
What is that restraint?
No.
No, that's not how any of that works. That was really creative though, but that's not how any of that works. So let me go ahead and tell you what the results say.
All
Let's
right.
get it over with.
All
Get a
right.
drum roll.
All right. It looks like baby McKinney because we can't say a child's name.
Right.
There is no probability he can be the father.
What did they say? What?
You hear that?
What'd you say, y'all?
You
Remember?
laughed at that.
Remember
No,
when
I
you-
didn't hear.
Oh, let me say it a
I'm the
little
only
louder.
white person she's been with. Remember?
There is
Remember that?
no probability that he is the father.
Okay, so first of all, no disrespect to you, but the letter looks a little sketchy.
Okay.
It wasn't in a
So,
legal
right,
size
right,
envelope.
quite
So,
sketchy.
and I don't trust him because his uncle is an attorney. Okay, and his
Okay.
uncle can do
What
all
does that
types
do
of
with
stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever you get.
Okay,
So I don't even trust that.
wait a minute.
Uncle is an attorney. Okay,
Alright,
envelope.
that's why it's sketchy.
So, and I don't trust him because his uncle is an attorney. Okay, and his
Okay.
uncle can do
What does
all
that have to
types
do with
of
anything?
stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I don't even trust that.
Wait a minute. I believe at the beginning, I asked you all how the test went.
I mean,
And
the
you
test-
said, wait a minute, hold on. You said everything went good, right?
And he did.
And it
That's what she
did,
said.
and it was fair that day, right?
Yes.
They swabbed her mouth correctly.
The person appeared to be wearing PPE and the person appeared to work, you know, for that service. And the test itself went well, but behind the scenes, Your Honor.
And it
a lot
appears
goes
that
on.
these results are directly from the testing place. And he's not the father.
He is the father. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, Your
Let
Honor.
me tell you not. No, he's not.
He's the father.
He's not. So you're going to order,
You
you're
lost.
going to argue with DNA testing.
Your Honor, he is the father. 72 hours. He
He
has a
is
tattoo
not
on
the
his private
father.
parts. He was
He
the only
is
one
not
there. I
the
know.
father. He is not the father.
Show
How
me a
many
tattoo.
times do I have to say that? No, I don't want to see a tattoo. All I want to see was these numbers to see what the probability was going to look like of him being the father. He is not the father. Now,
That was
you,
way too much, by the way.
You have a tattoo.
excuse me, you know what? I don't even see why you all need to be having a conversation right now.
I agree.
Can we
You
do a
are not the
retest?
father, which means that you will not be placed on any type of child support or anything today. Now, you, Miss McKinney, you do have the right to petition someone else who you may think is the father.
There is no one else, Your Honor. It was him. He has a tattoo on his private part. I was with him and the tattoo for 72 hours. I know what I felt. I know what I saw. Okay? It was him.
Well, there is a probability of something else, though.
Okay.
You were probably with somebody else, too, within that previous 72 hours.
Oh, Your Honor, you tried.
There's no shade, just facts.
It's very possible. It's
So,
very likely.
How is it possible?
Because there were like 6 or 7, 8 hours stretches during that time where I didn't see you or know where you
Right.
were. I don't know what you were doing.
He's
You know what?
black.
Maybe I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you don't even remember this other guy. It's possible with the rate you were going in those days. So I'm willing to grant you that you may not have
Oh,
been lying.
man.
You may
Okay.
not have been lying about thinking that I was the only white guy you were with.
Well, just answer my question. Do you have a tattoo on your private part?
I have a birthmark that kind of looks like a bird. Maybe
No,
that's
it
what you
says
thought.
Mississippi Long. Do you have that tattoo?
Okay,
No.
well, you know what? This is what we're
Never
about
been
to
to
do.
Mississippi.
This is what we're about to do. At this rate, we're not getting anywhere. I've already said what the results were, which means I'm dismissing this case. You are more than welcome to bring another case. And if his account is true that you don't remember, you can bring another case after that. But the court is here to assist you. So if there are no more questions and nothing further, which it shouldn't be, you all are dismissed.
Hell no, it shouldn't be.
Whatever. You got a tattoo.
Gangsta. Huh?
But yeah, I'm doing good. Apologies for a little bit of delay. This was not on Thomas, so if anyone wants to blame anyone, it's me. But workout went a little long. Did not expect that. So, but yeah, we are here. So craziness. You and I were texting about this, like whenever it first broke and everything, and naturally it's like, okay, we're gonna talk about it tonight. But it's so strange. It's so weird. Like I don't even know where you want to start with this thing. But it's just it's an odd report to begin with.
And there's one thing if the report basically said, oh, Nick Sirianni has a little bit of a hot temper and yelled at some players, and that caused some rip inside the locker room. That would make sense. I think if that was the initial report from Derek Gunn, we'd all go, okay, yeah, makes sense. I guess he's promised Ty Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie that he'll clean up his act, and he's probably, talked to the players and made things right. That's why they retained him. The Big Dom side of this is the weird part, Josh. And this is not some random, Craig Carton FS1 morning show report, which we can talk about. That was the big story that was supposed to be today. This is Derek Gunn. And if there's one reporter, one insider who, I'm not saying he's perfect. I don't think he has, everything right. But he's very plugged in. Like, he knows his stuff. He's best friends with Brandon Graham. This seems really strange to include the fact that Big Dom is kind of like the therapist for Nick Sirianni? He's kind of like the dad of the group, trying to make sure Sirianni doesn't fight with the kids and the players on the sideline. The Big Dom side of this is really, really strange.
It is, and I was trying to wrestle with it myself too. Of like, how would we officially term Dom, right? Like, what is his title? Could you go as far as saying he's babysitting Nick Sirianni? Like, in a way, because it's kind of like, okay, well, like, whoa, he's a little bit emotional here. And then, it's fine to a certain extent of, hey, get emotional on the sideline. But, like, you're right on with it being D-Gun. Because if it was somebody else, then I'd be going,
anybody else.
Okay, you could name a bunch of different people. And I'd go, well, whatever. It's like, is it that big of a deal? But D-Gun, he's not, like, is sensational enough to be like, oh, Dom is not, taking care of Sirianni. Like, he's being told by a source that he believes well enough to say, no, this was actually a significant enough factor for me to report it as news, that like Sirianni is somehow being held back. It's still really strange. Like, I can't grasp it. I can't put my mind around it. But again, the fact that it's D-Gun saying it, it's like, well, I don't know. It's a little bit strange, or it's weirder or odder that it's not a different reporter or something like that. So I don't know. It's crazy. It is like we see, several comments. Tracy N says it's officially rumor season. I mean, that's
it is.
Naturally, what starts happening. People leak things, and we need stuff to talk about. But it is just a little bit odd. Again, going back to, like you mentioned, Craig Carton. Like, there's a difference between you get a report like that, or a rumor started on that instance, and no one really bats an eye. Like, we joke about it, we laugh about it, we talk about it, because again, it's rumor season, and what else are we going to do? But like, in all seriousness, no, very few, maybe a couple, but very few people looked at that, heard that report, and went, oh, maybe there's something there. Maybe that's legit, But like, if D-Gun says it here, it's a little different. So I don't know. By the way, you're getting a lot of comments on the stash too. So I was gonna mention it. It's not the main topic, but I guess Paige is letting you keep it for a little bit longer.
Hey, listen, Paige is not a fan, but I said if we get to 43,000 subs today, then we got to keep it, and we did. So it's gonna stay for a little while
there
longer. Drop a like for the stash. Paige is watching right now, so be sure to tell me how much you like it, because she'll read the comments. This comment right here is fascinating. I think this is early comment of the night. Corey says they're saying everything besides plays and play calling sucked. That's very interesting, because it's very true. I mean, how much have we actually heard about, the play calling was the real problem inside Philadelphia? We haven't heard any of that. It's been all, locker room turmoil and the relationship between players and coaches, and now Nick Sirianni yelling at players and needing Big Dom to babysit him. Everything but, as Corey pointed out, listen, there's one main problem that we all saw this past season, and that was play calling. Play calling was a massive issue. And it's one thing to just, like, be casual fans. We did this every week. Like, the casual fan can see the issues. But you can find a number of highly credible, all 22 YouTube accounts that broke down the Eagles' offense. A famous one that called the Eagles' offense, a high school offense. And you can watch their breakdowns and go, there are serious flaws here. And yet, again, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Big Dom being the issue. And what's worse about this whole thing, Josh, is the timeline basically checks out. I mean, literally, the Eagles were great until they played the 49ers, which Lane Johnson said during Super Bowl week that it was the 49ers that kind of broke Philadelphia, but it was also the 49ers game where Big Dom had the altercation with Dre Greenlaw. He gets ejected and then suspended and fined for the remainder of the season, and the Eagles were terrible ever since. Now, he was back on the sideline for the wild card game, and they still lost that game, so, I don't know if it fully checks out here. It is very, very interesting, and I'm fascinated to see what the really fall out of this report is, because somebody's going to speak on this, right? And you got to remember, next week is the NFL Combine. Howie Roseman will for sure be in front of a microphone at some point. There's a good chance Nick Sirianni will be as well. They're both going to be there. This is going to be brought up, and the reaction to it by the guy himself in Sirianni or his boss, technically, maybe in Howie Roseman, is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it really is. And like we say, not that we necessarily wanted any type of reports like this, but it's a very dull time of year usually, and then all of a sudden you have things like this. So it's at least something to talk about. But yeah, it's incredibly unusual because I'm with you. I thought we would be more of a conversation of it's the play calling, it's the analytics of the team, and there's certainly that. I mean, there's the Jalen Hurts report of first look or first option passes being down from last season or 2 seasons ago, whatever. So there's all sorts of things that we're going to look at, but yeah, like the bigger one is I don't know, and even there was hate or depending on where you're at, there was hate, there was dislike, there was maybe not feeling great about Sirianni to begin with, but then this comes out, and I saw a couple different polls around Twitter of, hey, this changed your mindset or your viewpoint of Sirianni, and it's gotten worse because people are you serious? Like, we got to have a guy here that is, literally on the sideline, your babysitter, your parent, your whatever you want to call him, to keep him under wraps. I still can't like 100% get behind that. Surely it's not. It's maybe an overblown comment, or whoever his source is kind of being serious, but kind of not. Like, look, hey, Sirianni lets his emotions get out of control too many times, and maybe he needs to rein that in. But still, it's just, for a head coach of all people, you think maybe they could keep that under wraps. But ultimately, we can still get past this. Ultimately, that in my mind is not the reason that the Eagles lost. I'm sorry that it's maybe adding or contributing to just the morale or the vibes in the locker room were not great, but X's and O's are what cost them. It was the play calling, it was the execution. We saw it a number of times, week after week. So I don't know. I think the big part has been fixed. You got the coordinators, you got Kellen Moore, you got Vic Fangio, but I don't know. It's hard to say because you have a lot of guys, at least internal, players in the locker room who were standing up for Sirianni. Now, seemed like more of those that were being vocal were the veterans, and some of them are probably not going to be. Like, if Jason Kelsey's not here, if Fletcher Cox is not here, they were very vocal of supporting Sirianni. So I don't know. It's hard to say. There weren't as many of the, not I guess younger guys, but second, third year guys that just vocally came out and said they didn't say they disliked Sirianni, but they also didn't come out and voice the support as much. So it's an interesting place to be in, that's for sure.
It feels like this report should have come out right before the end of the season, because they could have dumped this report, clearly leaked it internally, and then fired Nick Sirianni. We all would have gone, geez, look at this. Gotta get rid of Nick Sirianni now. Then they fire him, then they bring in somebody new, and we have moved on with our lives. The thing that we got to keep remembering is there were some very high-profile coaches that joined Nick Sirianni's staff. Like, if it was well known within the National Football League that Sirianni has serious sideline issues. And again, you can read this and you can go, okay, maybe it's serious, or maybe, like you said, a little bit out of context and saying, he's a little chippy and Big Dom kind of calms him down. That's why we love Big Dom. He's great. Like, it could have been that sort of context. But if Sirianni actually had some sort of serious sideline, what do you want to call anger management? Like, he really ripped into players in a league that you can't do that because they're grown adults making millions of dollars versus college. Kellen Moore wouldn't have come here. Vic Fangio would not have come here. If they knew that this was a thing, and you think, Dick Sirianni's been a head coach for 3 seasons now, if this was a real problem, it would have gotten out long before this. They would not have hedged their bets on Kellen Moore becoming a head coach, because that's what he wants to do by joining Sirianni's staff. So I don't think it's all hands on deck and, sound the alarms and freak out. Is it a bad look? Yes. Do we need a little bit more details on this? Yes. I'll be curious to see what Derek Gunn says eventually whenever he speaks on Jacob Media. I don't know when he does, but eventually he will. The bigger report from me, from the same tweet, is the idea that Jalen Hurts' new contract and losing the Super Bowl really weighed on him, and he was pulled in a lot of different directions, causing him to have some poor play. What was your reaction to that part of D-Gun's tweet?
Yeah, that was I could see it. It's a lot of money. Anybody who has the extra, criticism, the spotlight put on you and everything else, it's I don't know. That one's a lot easier, I guess, to wrap my head around. But in the same sense of, okay, everyone seeing Jalen initially whenever he got the contract. Now, it's one thing to say something, and it's another thing to actually do it. But, what was his, almost first comment, or maybe first comment that he said was nothing changed but the weather, baby. So it's like, That's great. That sounds good.
Sounds good. Yeah.
But apparently it did change. Now we saw, the wherever you want to fall, and this is very polarizing, but did Jalen Hurts' personality change? The organization, apparently some people, I don't know how many, but apparently some people want him to change his personality from whatever it was this past season. Now, I think that there's a lot contributed to that of a losing streak. Anyone who's competitive, you, me, anybody, is not going to be joking around laughing when we're playing a game to win. It's just not as fun. I think everyone could attest to that. So, I don't care too much that, was Jalen not dancing around, whatever. That doesn't bother me. Now, earlier in the season, you could make a point, sure. There were moments. Now, it was more of struggling and some frustrations, man, we're winning, but we don't win very easily, and it's ugly.
Yeah.
So maybe that had to do with it. But yeah, it is a point to be made of okay, did he try to take advantage? And I can't blame him of hey, if you have as many opportunities as possible to get a bag and continue to just pile up, just wealth or, life-changing money and finances and everything else. I mean, you already got that with a contract, but it seemed I think you did a short over it, didn't you? The commercials and all the deals that he was getting. So it's he was very busy.
A lot.
And so, maybe that played a part into it. There's a team source that even said to John McMullen that Jalen needs to get back to business. I think he realizes that now. So, it's on all different sides here. It's not as surprising to me. But I also would say it's not as alarming. Jalen still feels and seems very level-headed, and he probably would understand, hey, you know what? This was a learning experience, a growing experience here. And was it handled perfectly? No, maybe not. But again, I would just love to know who the source is, because if it's not someone close with Jalen, he's already, maybe just not coming off as much or showing that emotion. So perhaps someone looks at him and says from the outside looking in, even though they're in the locker room, if they don't know great, they could just be yeah, I think the money maybe changed him a little bit. He's just not the same type of person, or we didn't handle it right. I don't know. So that's the part I would love to get extra insight of, how good is that source? How close to Jalen is that source?
Well, you got to remember that Jalen Hurts obviously not a part of the NIL, or at least the modern day NIL in college, and so he kind of got his first bag with this brand new contract versus being a second round draft pick. I do think the Super Bowl part of this weighs a little bit more than the contract, because Jalen his entire career has been battling a narrative that he wasn't able to make it at Alabama, and that Tua overtook him for the national championship. And then even though he, was good at Oklahoma, he never kind of eclipsed that national championship caliber pedigree. Is obviously a second-round draft pick and very much a gadget player in the first year behind Carson Wentz. Didn't seem to be coming anytime soon. And then suddenly he's starter. He gets him to the playoffs. Year 2, he's in the Super Bowl. And had he won that football game, he can really sit back on a throne and go, look what I have done. But having lost that game, I'm sure it did weigh on him in a very, very, very tough way. The problem that we have is we don't know enough about Jalen Hurts' behind-the-scenes life to know if the money really did change. And that's probably for the better, because I think a lot of these guys don't get the privacy that a lot of them would like, and Jalen Hurts is unique in that he's not Josh Allen, he's not Patrick Mahomes, he's not really, he's on the national stage being a starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, but compared to the guys I just mentioned, very much low-key. He's not on IG posting about, what Hollywood actress he's going out with, or he's not on Netflix's quarterback, with his wife Brittany. He is very quiet. We have no idea where Jalen Hurts is right now. Nobody knows where Jalen Hurts is right now. And yet you wonder if cameras were there, or if you had a little more insight into his life, if the money was a little bit more changing. But you mentioned it overall from the beginning. This is going to be something that's not that big of a deal in the end, because this was the season for it to all go downhill. It did in the end after being 10-1. But he should really be able to refocus, having an extra year under his belt with the bag in the pocket, money in the bank, but also coming off the Super Bowl 2 years removed now. I think now is going to be when Jalen Hurts is going to be just fine. Again, we are literally reading into a 120-character tweet, and we're trying to figure out exactly what it means. Now, it's going to get blown all over the internet, and rightfully so, because it's Derek Gunn, as we mentioned from the very beginning. But does this mean the Eagles are a dumpster fire? Does this mean that Nick Sirianni can't coach and has lost the locker room? Does it mean that Jalen Hurts is, a fluke quarterback and going to be the next Carson Wentz? No, it doesn't mean any of that, right? We need to just pump the brakes a little bit. It's just very interesting, and as I said about 5 minutes ago, you're going to get both Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman in front of media at the NFL Combine next week, and this will be question number 1. Trust me, they're not going to ask about draft prospects until they ask the question that we've just been talking about for the past 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it'll be fascinating to see what the answer is or what the excuse. They're prepped obviously, so they'll have a good bit of time to read into this, see what's going on. What are they going to say? How are they going to respond to it? It's just a very unusual report because you don't really see this from hardly any, if any, coaches on that instance. So, again, I would have expected it to be from some other reason of, the play calling or other things that we talked about. But here you go. It's always something with this group. I mean, ever since we've started, you've been doing it for a long time, but since we started this Wednesday Link, just about, because it's basically the 1 year mark, it's been every single show almost, and just the drama. Now, it was good stuff for a little while. Naturally, after the Super Bowl was not great, but leading up to the draft, we're like, yeah, we're gonna get Bijan, and then it's okay, Jalen Carter's even better. This is fantastic. But it's just been almost every single time. So I don't know. At this point, there is an element to it of kind of being used to just crazy, shocking, ridiculous news that comes out.
Point.
But still, I'm with you in saying I can't wait because there's no clue. There's no clue where this thing goes. Not anybody who has their security guy that gets thrown out of a game and gets ejected, another player. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, he's suspended for several games. And it turns out to be maybe a much bigger deal than what we initially thought. He's an emotional support. Sure, everyone loves Big Dom, rally around him. But I kind of thought it was a semi-joke. I'm not knocking Dom. I know he does stuff for the team, and it's very important. It's vital. But I'm just saying, you don't go into the game and say, oh gosh, we're going to lose because we don't have Big Dom on the sideline.
Right.
But I don't know. That's what they lead you to believe now. It's crazy.
I do think that this is queuing us up for Philadelphia to do a big PR shift. The Philadelphia organization, the front office has got to do something to get Nick Sirianni out of the news, because every time Nick Sirianni's been in the news since they officially, they never officially said they weren't going to fire him, but since he came back after the debacle in the final 7 games of the season and the loss to Tampa Bay, it's been all about negative Nick Sirianni, and now, again, this is the worst look yet. This is a bad report, and again, coming from a very trusted insider in Derek Gunn. They're going to need to go out during the NFL Combine and change the narrative. They're going to need to go out, and whether that's, re-signing Hassan Reddick or claiming that they're going to, whether that's the start of the new league year on March 11th and making a big-time splash. We can talk about cornerbacks on the Jerry Sneed, safeties, whatever you want to do. They need to shift the narrative back, because if you remember what happened last year, they lose the Super Bowl, right? Okay, lose the Super Bowl, bad PR. Give us some good PR. We start the new league year thinking Philadelphia is in very big cap trouble. They're going to lose all their key players. And very quickly, even though the moves didn't turn out to be the correct ones,